What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Detroit Love, with another video. Before we get started, please click that subscribe button to help us grow, and make sure you comment on the video. And before you go, like the video. Like the video right now. Let's do it. Let's get started. How great it would be to relive the 80s. Ooh-wee. To enjoy those things we thought were long gone. The road beneath your feet and the wind in your hair. Maybe not so fast. This isn't the best solution. I think I may have a better way to go back down memory lane. So let's check it out. Numskull's collector edition of Pac-Man just may be the perfect recipe to relive those glory days of the 80s. This is their quarter arcades brand of arcade cabinets. This is a 1/4 scale replica arcade machine. So this is a 1/4 scale replica of the original 1980 Pac-Man machine. It's made of pretty solid wood. It has a replica wood shell and shape. Has the reverse air vents with the wire mesh at the top there. Has a 5-inch TFT screen with a 4:3 ratio, full color. You have your off and on switch, a volume control, a micro USB for charging. There's the volume there, and has a LED light that gives you your battery status. Has a 3-watt built-in speaker with volume control. Has rechargeable lithium batteries for portable use. LED backlight marquee. Comes with a charging cable to keep the battery charged. Again, that's micro USB, 1.8 millimeters long. Of recessing the screen, you can see there's a drop on both sides and on the front and on the top. So the screen is beveled, so it's not just a flat screen up against this surface. It is done to appear just the way it did back in the 80s on the original cabinet. And again, on the screen, the screen appears to be washed out, but it is not washed out at all when you're directly looking at it. However, when you go to the sides, it does wash out a little bit,
but head on, either looking down on it or straight at it, it is crisp and clear. I mean, see how the screen shines off the side panel? I mean, the thing is just done very well. You see the grill up there. You know, they just did a fantastic job with this thing. You see the lights coming through the back there from the bezel. I am extremely impressed with the quality. Now, I'll weigh this to see exactly how much it weighs, but it has a decent weight to it. It can stand to be a little heavier, bottom heavy for me, just so you don't have this rocking potential. But playing it, because your hand is so big, it will be pretty balanced because you're just moving this joystick. It does have little rubber feet to give you some traction and stability on different surface types. I say this is definitely a winner for anyone that's a fan of Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxian. Now, I definitely love Galaga, though I'm more partial to the faster Galaga, and that would be so much necessary on a cabinet this small. So that's why I didn't get the Galaga. To do the joystick and to be pressing a little button on this little space would be a little much for my hands. But it's great that you can do so on such a small package that looks like the real cabinet from back in the day. So I went with the Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man. I really wanted the Miss Pac-Man because the artwork is just so incredible. But this is the one that started it all, and so I definitely wanted to get one of the Pac-Man series just so there's no two-handed action required with this little cabinet. One hand, it feels perfectly fine to play this game. So I have no problem with that. Because the cabinet is so tall, it's a little more challenging than, say, the Arcade 1-Up countercade because of this height. The countercade, your hand is down lower, and so the surface that you put this on will be required to be a certain height just for comfort level with this. But I really like this cabinet. Now, some things to mention. It is a rechargeable system, so it's an internal battery. I haven't gone inside yet, but we'll take a look at that if that's possible. We haven't gone inside just yet, but we'll see if that's possible. But so there's an internal rechargeable battery that you plug up the included cable. The cable does not come with the power, brick that you plug into an outlet. So it just comes with the cable, micro USB. Definitely would have preferred USB-C. The issue with micro USB for many years is, and I experienced this with this as well, the manufacturers make the casing around that micro USB so many different sizes and shapes so that you cannot just interchange those things. And when I plugged this up, it kept blinking. I'm like, why is this thing not blinking? Because it clearly wasn't charging, or it was slow charging because the cable that I was using, because I didn't use the included one, I kept it in the box. And it was hours later, I'm like, this thing is not fully charged yet. But when I unplugged that cable, it stopped blinking. And when I put another cable in, it immediately stopped blinking as well. So it had already charged, but that cable was not proper. So micro USB cables are not apples to apples as you switch between cables as far as the power that they supply, the shape of them. So what happens with micro USB cables, if you're not using the one that comes with it, you can misshape the opening, and then you end up with a device that you cannot charge because the cable will no longer go in. So that's why those micro USB should be abandoned. Even if you're using the same exact cable that came with it, over time you have the potential for that cable to misshape, get widened, because it doesn't have a universal side. You know, one side is one shape, the other side, and you poke at it like I have it upside down, and over time that will reshape that. Whereas micro USB, or I'm sorry, USB-C will go in. It's the same shape all the way around the device, and so you insert it and it'll just go in no matter which side. If you're upside down or not, it'll insert. So they definitely should switch over to USB-C now that technology has been available for a while versus the micro USB. Another thing to mention is there's no indication of how much battery is available. You know, I hadn't noticed at all whether it blinks when it starts getting low or anything. And so I was playing the game one time and it just turned off because the battery had died. And I think that's when I had the improper cable used and it wasn't actually really fully charged. So there's no battery indication of battery level indicator at all. So just have to be aware of that. But I am extremely impressed with it. This is actually metal, not wooden. This coin door, that's very impressive. You know, the wood is the equivalent thickness of a quarter scale version of the original. So it's thin, but there's no flex to it. It's well made. The finish is great. I don't see any need to fear that the decals is going to fade or anything over time or, you know, wear off. When picking this up, it's a two-hand job, though you can lift it here. That's what I often do, just so I can do a one-handed grab and go. But I would say, other than the micro USB charging over the USB-C, I have no gripe with this at all. It is well made. It looks beautiful. I mean, I'll show you some pictures. I mean, the quality of it is fantastic. It's just like a tiny version of the original. I've seen online where people were complaining on Amazon, the link is below, complaining that they returned it because it was smaller than they thought and all that type of thing. And so that's why I always like to add with these things, you know, everyday items as a comparison to size so people can make a distinction. Because you say 17 inches, people, you know, can't visualize what that is in relation to the real world. So I'll put, you know, things next to it so that you can see what that size means. But you really wouldn't want it to be any larger, and you definitely wouldn't want it to be any smaller. So I think it is a great size for what you're getting. So to turn it on, you just simply reach around the back and push the soft button in and release, and it'll come on. And you will notice it is instant on. So as soon as I hit this button, that light marquee comes up instantly. You get your Numskull, Pac-Man, and then the scrambling of the screen, and bam, you're up. You can put a quarter in or a credit and start play. Well, it went the other way. Now, I'm not a fan of the 5 men to start thing. I don't quite understand that. If you want to be authentic, why do that? All right, that's a little play. You see in here, it's like I'm at the real arcade. And to turn it off, you just hit the switch, and it's done.
The only drawback with this game itself is the high score does not save once power is turned off on the unit. So if you're playing several games, it will track the high score and keep the high score between games. But once you turn this sucker off, high score is gone bye-bye. And that always sucks. And here are a few images so you can get an idea of how big this unit is in comparison to things that you may be more commonly familiar with. It's a decent size. So what are my thoughts on the Numskull Pac-Man Collector's Edition quarter size arcade? I can admit when I'm wrong. I thought this thing would be too tiny and that the controls would be too small for me to actually enjoy playing it. Boy, was I wrong. The quarter size arcade cabinet is actually a perfect size to not only be a showcase in your man cave or game room, but also a playable reminder of a game that has so much nostalgic value and reminds you of a time that's long gone. You can actually play this thing and enjoy it for a quick game or even a long game. The only gripes I have about it is that it doesn't use USB-C and it doesn't save the high scores. Other than that, I believe this is an item that you should seriously look to add to your showroom. Hey guys, I appreciate you taking time to watch the video and for clicking the like button. Check out the description for additional information and please subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell for notification of new videos. Ask your questions and share your thoughts below in the comment section. And until next time, I'll see you on the web.